Welcome to the future.
Who's this clown?
Not clown. Joker.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Nobody tampers with the equipment except Tony Stark.
Good idea.
United, the Avengers are strong.
Hawkeye, hands off.
Fool! Have you forgotten my invincible magnetic power?
Not this time, Magneto.
My mutant brain senses danger.
Something unseen is slowly spreading its poison, edging tempers.
Think carefully before you do this.
You filthy criminals.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to issue 117 or episode 117, however you choose to digest the two fat guys. That is how, yeah, we're on 117, y'all. That's crazy. But welcome to the second show of the year, and well, he was here. Nate is finally
here.
back.
I'm still here. I just don't want to see my butt. Not my
Nate
real
is
butt.
here.
Just
Yeah,
like
we
my
would get a community violation there. So yeah, but let's not do that.
I know. Hold on.
Anyway, guys, welcome back. Yes, Nate is with us. The two fat guys are reunited, and we've got a nice one for y'all tonight. Now, I will admit, if you're watching this live or as a past episode, I will probably be somewhat distracted over here, right here, because I do have the Packers game on my other monitor. So just if you see me go, whatever. You have been known to watch Cowboy games during our show, so.
Joe gave me support for that one, so he said I could.
Okay. Anyway, so let's get to it. Let's talk about some business, and we'll get to chat, and then we'll get to this week's pools. Which there were some cool books this week. A surprising one that I did pick up. I just was not expecting it to be as good as it was. So we will get to that. But business as usual. Let's talk about our show's sponsor, and that is Collected Comics and Games here in the DFW area. That is our LCS that me and Nate definitely frequent all the time. And they have two locations, one in Fort Worth on Altamere and the other one in Keller, where Brent has his shop. So if you ever get a chance, if you're in the DFW area, go ahead and check out Collected Comics and Games. They are an awesome LCS to check it out, or comic book shop to check out. And there are also some other great ones here in the DFW area that you should definitely go support. Name a few: Duncanville Bookstore, Zeus, Titan, Mansfield Comics, Manga and Comics. There's a ton of comic book shops here in the DFW area that you should support if you are visiting or live here. You should check them out. Also, let's talk about Collected Comics and Games website, brainycomics.com. Type in your web browser, another window, brainycomics.com. This is what's going to pop up. You can go over there and do a little bit of comic book shopping, a little bit of personal shopping, gift shopping, whatever you want to do. And you can buy exclusive and variant covers, bundles, bad idea books, new comics, mystery bags, back issues, graphic novels, games, toys, and collectibles, and even trading cards. Check it out. Go to brainycomics.com, do a little bit of shopping, and before you check out, what we'd love for you to do is go up into that left-hand corner right there in that search bar and type in Two Fat Guys Pool List and press enter. And when you do, this is going to pop up: the Two Fat Guys Pool List upgrade and premium upgrade. If you do the upgrade, put the upgrade in your cart. What that gets you for $8 is one mystery exclusive comic cover, which you saw on the front. We'll just look at those again. But if you do the premium for $15, you get two. Now I want to show you something here. Most of the variants are about $10 to $15. So you're getting a really good deal if you do the premium. You get two of those bad boys. Now, I'm not saying you're going to get the exact ones that are on this front page, but you will get some pretty cool stuff. And you may be a hardcore Star Wars fan, and you might get that Hidden Empire variant cover from Darth Vader right there with Darth Vader on the cover, or maybe you get the Strange Academy Finals issue number 2 with Magic on the cover. The possibilities are endless. So head on over to brainycomics.com, do a little bit of shopping, put that upgrade in your cart, and then let us know once your package arrives in the mail what you got in your upgrade. We would love to see that. So that's going to do it for that part of the business for the show. The other is we're going to talk about our milestone giveaway. Guys, we are on the road to 850 subscribers. And Neighbor and Empire, your packages are going out this week. So be on the lookout. Ooh. I will definitely send tracking numbers to your email and or Twitter message, depending on how you contacted us. Be on the lookout for that. Your giveaway winnings are going to be in the mail this week. But when we hit 850 subscribers, we are giving away this retail incentive Green Lantern #1 CVCS graded 9.8 with Jon Stewart on the cover. 850 subscribers, we'll be giving away this live here on the show. So make sure, if you're watching the show and you're not already subscribed, smash that subscribe button, ring that bell, give us a like, and talk in the chat or leave a comment, whichever, if you're watching this as a past episode, leave a comment, and let's get this going. And then also, we got to talk about it. At 1,000, you know what we're giving away, guys. Let's do it this year, 2023, the year of the first appearance of Silk. Let's give this away at 1,000 subscribers. So that's gonna do it for the business of the show. Let's get to the real meat and potatoes, and that's our pools and our chat. What up, Holden? What up, Jaden? What up, Patty? What up, Joe? What up, Sebastian? Let's get back to chat. You've been reading chat. You were giggling over there for a minute. What was going on?
Joe's making me very sad. So.
Is it because the Cowboys
Yeah, he said I had COVID last week and it was still better than the Cowboys today, which is very true. I also had COVID 2 weeks ago and it was still better than the Cowboys game today.
I didn't
Tom
even
Brady
know
is literally about to go goat mode on us. He is literally about to go. He is about to just go insane, and everyone's gonna be like, "God, that's the Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time." And then he's gonna get to the next round of playoffs where he plays San Francisco, and they're gonna fucking annihilate him. They're gonna make him look like a 10-year-old, and then that's how he'll retire.
You're gonna jinx it. And he's gonna do great. Stop it, dude.
No,
cut it out.
You didn't hear me. He's
What up,
gonna
Turtle
destroy
Power?
the Cowboys first, then he's gonna lose.
Okay, all right.
He's not good. He's too old. He actually finally washed up. But
Gotcha. All right. Well, we'll see. All right, guys. Well, let's get to the show. Welcome everybody that's in chat. I appreciate everyone that is here, and let's kick it off. We're gonna start the show off with Avengers, issue number 64, part 4 in the Avengers Assemble event from Jason Aaron. And I will say this: this issue finally felt like a Jason Aaron Avengers book. Instead of here, let's set up all these different variants of Avengers that you're only going to see, surprise, for a section of a panel. In what happened in this book, we saw all 3 of the books that were just random variants of, the Ronin Ghost Rider and the Gunslinger Starbrand, and they all showed up in this book, but literally were on a panel. And they were like, all right, let's help. Great. They didn't need their own book, but right. We got to sell comics, right? The coolest thing about this book, and Turtle, you just said it, is we find out the revelation of who the Dark Phoenix is, and the Dark Phoenix is Mystique, and that was really freaking cool. And that, to me, that's what made this issue feel like a Jason Aaron Avengers book. It just reminded me of the first 25 issues. The pacing felt right, the action felt right, the dialogue felt right.
See, I'm not reading this, but when I heard that on Twitter, I was like, see, this is the kind of thing that made Jason Aaron a phenomenal writer when he was at his peak with Thor and stuff. It's that he can toe that line perfectly between fan service ish, he knows what fans want because he's a fan too, Mystique as the Phoenix. That's fucking cool,
right? Yeah,
and still giving us new and creative stories and being wacky. And I feel like for the longest time he's fell all the way into the wacky, and had none of that payoff from the fans type thing that people like. And he finally hit it with this one, and I wasn't even reading it and I noticed it. So
Joe says Doom did the double cross. Who would have guessed? Yeah, that was a little. But I mean, whatever. We got a Planet of Dooms, and we've got the Doom Ego Planet. It's coming along. But this felt like Jason Aaron's run. It just didn't feel bogged down. It felt like he was in his own, whereas the previous issues just felt so forced. It's like, hey, look at all these. Look how crazy I can get. Which. There's nothing wrong with that, but there has to be pacing, right? There has to be, it has to fit, and it just didn't fit for me personally. It's like, hey, care about these characters that I'm only gonna see them one more time, maybe in the actual Avengers Assemble event, which happened in this issue in part 4. So, but the Mystique reveal was very kick-ass. I dug it. Mystique being the Phoenix was the biggest twist in the X line has seen in years since Hawksbox. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Can it be though? Because it's.
Cool. Say again.
I said, can it be though? Because it's like alt universe. It's not real. Like that's not real Mystique.
Dude, it's comics. I don't know. Like, I thought it was cool. I mean,
Topo Chico, by the way, I'm not drinking.
No, you're fine. It doesn't matter. I guess I think it is because the big revelation from Mystique in the current X line was getting Destiny back and, you know, doing the whole, you know, betrayal and getting Madeline Pryor taken out, you know. And I get it. It is an Elseworld thing, but I didn't see it coming. You know, I didn't even think twice to think, well, who is the Dark Phoenix? I was just like, it's the Dark Phoenix. You know, like, I didn't even think, like, who was the identity? I didn't really care because that's how disinterested I was with Aaron's Avengers run. So, like, this, like, brought me back, like, well, what's she going to do now? Like, is she going to be the key to ending this whole thing? Only time will tell. We'll see. But, you know, I enjoyed it.
All
right, let's move over to Captain Marvel issue 45. What's going on? I mean, and I'm not saying that in a negative thing. I'm not saying that as a negative thing.
Okay.
I'm just... there are answers that need to be... I'm sorry, there are questions that need to be answered with this.
Like,
because, well, okay, the whole Brood situation. Like I got to assume...
What's going on with them?
Right, because the status quo was the X-Men had these guys in line. So is this a faction of Brood that is not under the control of the Queen's Egg or King Egg, whatever the fuck it's called?
King Egg, yeah.
King Egg, or have things slipped? Has our bud Brood, or what's his name? What's the
Brew?
Has Brew lost control? You know, is he no longer at the head of the court?
I mean, it seems like that's the case, at least to this faction. We don't know yet if this is a splinter faction or if this is the de facto,
like what it is,
leadership. But
yeah,
you're right. We don't know what that is. I think that was pretty cool though that they actually gave us a face to the head Brew Queen that's you know, causing the issues. I think obviously we're going to find out how it affects the X line because this book crosses over with X-Men.
Yeah.
So,
well, and Turtle says it sounds like it's getting retconned. And that's I don't know. I guess we should. Maybe this is where. What?
Nothing. I already see where this is going. Oh my gosh, they're retconning the King Egg arc. That's a Hickman arc.
No,
wait,
whoa! I get why you're making that
got to go to
assumption.
therapy again about the Hickman arc isn't real.
That's not what I was gonna say.
Okay, sorry,
I was going to accept the therapy and say maybe it's time to let go, and this is where we let it go. Okay, it starts in Captain Marvel and then shifts into X-Men and goes, listen, that was nonsense. You know, we got to sell books and we gotta you know bring X-Men back down to earth. Where they can die, and you know, and I'm okay. I'm not okay, but anyway, maybe this is where it starts.
This is where we are. I honestly don't. I think that Kelly Thompson wanted to do something fun with the Brood because what has Kelly Thompson done really well that we just got through talking about, and that's keeping a balance of doing interesting and new stories while still appealing to the overall fans.
Right.
And the Brood are a massively huge part of the history of Captain Marvel, of Carol Danvers. And so, of course, bringing them in makes sense. And I think what she probably did was knocked on the door of the X office, was like, are y'all doing anything with that King Ed Brew shit? And they're like, do you see Hickman in here? No, we're not doing that. And so she's just like, okay, cool. And then, playing it with it, it's a toy that got left there. So she's just picking up and playing.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's okay. I liked it, and when I bought this issue, Lee checked me out at the store, and she was like, "Oh, I haven't been reading this, but that's some 80s shit right there." Like she was even like, "That's dope."
It is, yeah.
So again, kudos to Kelly Thompson, like you're saying, keeping in continuity, still playing with toys, but then having a good twist on it. And I am digging it. Don't get me wrong. I think it's great. I love that the Brood are trying to steal the powers of the mutants. That's getting me all riled up too. I dug it. Speaking of Hickman, Joe says, y'all hear about this Marvel event he's behind coming this year? Yeah, it's very
he was behind one.
Yeah, so that there's something going on, and we don't know what we don't know what it is. I can't speculate to it. I just know that I'm excited for it because it's Hickman, right? So let's see where it goes. I'm just glad that he's still writing Marvel. I'm
He's still under contract for like one more book, I think.
Okay, well, I'm glad he's doing it, because I know he's off on his Substack land making like 15 different books and only having like concepts out right now.
Have you been getting ads for those though?
Yeah, I've been getting like
for
previews
the three moons, three worlds.
Yeah, and every time I see it, I'm like, okay.
It's weird though. Like that's the first time I've ever seen an ad, like a targeted ad for a Substack thing.
Interesting. I don't
even for Eventinians.
I don't know, dude. I don't want to get into that debate. I don't. I'm just.
The big thing about the ad for me was that they highlighted really boldly about this stuff is also coming out in print. And so I basically just said, I can delete this from my mind until I see it in print.
Right. And I think that's my, we're going to get into this debate again. We're going to do it.
No,
but like,
we're not. Come on.
Like, what's the point? Like, yeah, exclusivity and I get to read it first. Great. I want it in my hands. I don't care about digital.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Anyway, Captain Marvel was freaking awesome. I always did enjoy Hickman's work on Fantastic Four, as memorable as a young teenager, Patty says. So
that's good.
Speaking of Fantastic Four, we got issue number 3 from North. Let me. Unfortunately, Nathan, your early preview to this book kind of ruined it for me. But
okay,
I think I would still have the same feeling for the book if you had not told me a damn thing about it, like what you had said about it prior, because you read it before me.
Yeah.
And it's I don't care.
Yeah. So there's just like, I don't know. I think maybe because I'm a Fantastic Four fan, I overanalyze things a little bit. But this just isn't very fun. I think what we have found that works well with Fantastic Four, when you want to be cutesy and fun, is highlighting some of the newer cast members or keeping the focus on the kids, whether it's Ben's and Alicia's kids or the Richard kids. And so we're not doing that at all so far. Literally none of the kids have been seen at all 3 issues in.
Right.
And if there's one thing, like there's been minis of like people, but like for the most part, I think Johnny Storm's one of the characters that's hardest to stand up on his own. Like he needs someone. Like there's a reason why him and Ben had their own book from Chip, and like they're always together and stuff like that. You see Reed by himself a lot. You see Sue by herself. She's even had her own miniseries, but like you just don't see Human Torch by himself. And I think this issue shows why, because he's really one-dimensional if you try to do the funny thing. Now, I guess I'm going on a tangent here. Dan Slott was actually developing him as a character, and I feel like this is kind of a regression. This is just back to the silly old 70s Johnny. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of how I feel about the entire current North run, which I know we're only 3 issues in, but it just feels like a regression to the character development that I think Dan Slott did really well with. Now, am I upset with some of the stuff that he did? Yes. But every week, every month that I read Fantastic Four, the writing was good and the character development I thought was good. And we were getting new characters and new villains. And I'm not saying we're not going to get that in this, but if it doesn't happen in the first arc, why am I reading it? And I will say this, I am infinitely intrigued with what's currently going on at the last page of every book. I'm like, what? Why? What's going on? Let's do it. Tell me, like at the end of this one, we get a thing flesh dome. Like what? I want more of that, and I don't, it feels like it's forced character development, but like you said, they're being put into these boxes that just doesn't feel, at least for a current FF reader, natural. It's like they've regressed from what any develop. And it started happening in Dan Slott's run too. Like Human Torch, yeah, he had a redemption arc, right? But it felt like he was starting to regress even at the end of that run too.
Well,
I think
we'll agree to disagree on that one, but
man.
That's not the point of this issue. And it was settled, but I can't remember. It literally was like Reed was like, "Oh yeah, I remembered I could do this," in your face.
Beep boop beep boop boop.
The last that last arc, he gets the powers of a watcher, or like the brain of a watcher or whatever. So I think it's when he gets that smart that he figures out what the problem is.
Right.
I don't remember. I don't know. If I'm being honest, I would be off of this book after this issue if Ryan North hadn't been dangling the what happened in New York over us the whole time. And that's intriguing enough that I'll be picking up issue 4. But I told myself when I finished this issue that if I don't see either of the 4 kids in issue 4, I'm out. I don't care how good the hook is.
I think I'll join you on that hill. I think I'm in the same boat, unless like Galactus's thumb shows up or something, just like, "Bah!" Like, you know, like I don't know, like I just.
Annihilus is on the cover, which is another thing that it makes me think that like something's gonna happen with like the Forever Gate, and a ton of baddies are gonna come through, and the only way to stop it is to shove everything into a wormhole or something like that. But
I think that's too much, man. It's too deep. It was way too deep. I don't see it. It just feels like there's.
I mean, that's very Fantastic Four. So
I mean, it is. I just, with what I've currently read, to me, it's going to be a nothing burger. Like, it's going to be like, haha, gotcha. Pick up issue 5. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to poo-poo on it, but
there's no way. I agree. But there is no way that editorial is letting Ryan North, and not speaking ill on him at all, but like letting a newer guy like Ryan North step anywhere near Zeb Wells's event book. No way.
Comics, or Joe says the Alex Ross covers are worth the buy. I would agree with that. The Alex, I mean, they are good. I don't know. I want to be good. I want to be. It's like you said. You said.
Yeah,
it in the text
I feel like I am
me.
being a little bit too harsh on it.
No, I don't think you are though, because I think Fantastic Four deserves. I'm not saying North is bad. I just think, like, and I don't. It doesn't make me feel good saying this, but Dan Slott's run was fun. Yes, did it have its shortcomings? 100%. Like, there are things that Dan Slott has done that I should not be angry about, that I am. In case in point, what's the name of the son? Franklin. You know, like I'm still bitter about that. And how long has it been? 3 years? Like, I'm still pissed off about it. But I did enjoy reading his run. Like, it was fluid. But there were things that were left behind or weren't mentioned. But it was fun. And with this, it feels like a mini, and it feels like a very disconnected, disjointed mini. And I don't know. Joe, did North say at the beginning he will focus on small arcs? Yes, he did. I don't see sprawling storyline anything. No, it's not. It's not.
Well, I think that I want to make sure that that's what I'm saying. I don't have a problem with is one shots. The issue is if you're going to do one shots in comic books, you really kind of have to go all 70s on it. If we're going to do 70s tone and stuff, you're going to have to do 70s word count and pacing, because the reason why one shots worked back then was because there was enough words to support them. Now there was enough substance, enough things happened in those 28 pages. Versus right now where everything's written for the collected series. And if Ryan North wants to do that, that's fine, and I'm even on board. But we've done nothing in 3 issues. 3 stories, 3 issues.
Yeah,
nothing's happened.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Because I want to like it. I really do. I'm trying to give it a shot. You got it. All right, next up we have Golden Goblin, issue number 3 from the Dark Reb series. Really quick, let me hit chat. Turtle. Dan reconnecting Franklin being a mutant was just bad writing. Yeah, recanting. If you read Hickman's F4 run, it was a beautiful father-son story, and Franklin was being a badass since his origin. Speaking of word count, can't wait till we get Dark Knights of Steel. I actually like that book a lot, but it was fast. That's always been the problem with that book, but we'll get to it. Golden Goblin Dark Web, issue number 3. I am enjoying this, and I put this in quotations, redemption arc for Norman, but I am a little, and it's a small annoyance, is that this is a dark web tie-in. It's not. This is dark web is thrown on there, slapped on there, and they mention it every 3 or 4 pages. Oh, and all the shit that's going on in New York, right? Like, other than that, it's clear to me that anyone that is still tricked into buying all the event books is still doing this. That's all this is for on dark web. Putting that aside, I'm really liking this, and I am intrigued by Cantwell's, like, this idea is Norman going to redeem himself? Is he going to be somewhat of a good guy, or is he going to be an anti-hero? Is he going to be a little bit of a Venom? Remains to be seen, right? Because there are still these, like, glimpses of darkness or rage, and I mean, it's not just going to go away, right? But we'll have to wait and see. But I am digging this, and knowing where his grandson is going, I don't know how I feel about that. So Normie, whatever his grandson is going to end up being the Red Goblin. I don't, sure, symbiote goblin, great, but I am digging this and seeing, I don't know, I like the edginess of the visuals of, like, his redemption arc and seeing his sins in person with Gwen and then his face getting ripped off in this one. Like, I like that. Overall, I dig it. It's just not a dark web tie-in. It's just not. Did you read it? You didn't read it.
I didn't. So I hadn't read the first 2 issues, and all right, start on issue. It took me everything to get through issue 1. I just didn't care, and so I wasn't able to bring myself to get onto this one.
No, this is one that I think you definitely read on Marvel Unlimited whenever it gets there.
Yeah.
But I'm digging it, and I'm really just buying it for Cantwell. But yeah, and totally, you're right. Like, there is a redemption arc currently going on right now with all Spidey's bads, but I think we're creating, we're creating new. Excuse me, my ears itchy. We're creating new, villains as we go. So we'll just have to see. But I am enjoying it, and I'll be interested to see where it gets wrapped up as this mini ends. But it's fun. It's nothing crazy. Joe, I wonder when this is collected in trades, the tie-ins will be included, or are we getting a dark web companion trade collection with Venom, Miss Marvel, and X-Men? I bet. But the problem again is this is, I mean, outside of mentioning what's going on in New York, it's not a dark web tie-in. It's just not. I mean, the second issue, was it the second issue? I do not remember what issue where Chasm comes and, like, beats the shit out of him. But and I don't know if it may have not happened. I can't remember, but yeah, I like it. Patty, I'm sure Norman will go crazy at some time in the future, but for now they want to try and redeem him as much as possible, so it feels meaningful again when he does snap instead of oh, he snapped again, oops. Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. Like, build up the bridge before you break it down. It is a mini, Joe. It's definitely, yeah, Golden Goblin is a mini, but I don't know, it's a weird book because it was never solicited as a dark web tie-in, and then when dark web got announced, I was like, oh, by the way, it's connected. I'm like, not really.
League of Comic Geeks only has Gold Goblin currently solicited as its own trade paperback. There is a Amazing Spider-Man trade paperback and a Dark Web trade paperback, neither of which is included in that.
Interesting. All right.
It'll only be its own thing.
Gotcha. All right, let's keep going. Marauders. Oh, dude, I called you. You didn't pick up your phone on this one. So again, Orlando, I think, deserves to be a part of this little group of Al Ewing and Karen Gillan and I guess Zeb Wells. Is it Zeb Wells? Who's writing the X book with Nightcrawler? Siceburier. Where they're trying to resurrect little hints of Hickman's, or they have the notes from Hickman, And so we've been doing this time heist thing, right, with the Marauders, and come to find out, we have an origin story for the island of Arakko and Krakoa in this book. So the original, the mutant that was essentially built in this book, or that's in this book, that's like a plant, is essentially the beginning point of the island that is Arakko and Krakoa. I forget what it's called when it's together. Right?
Yeah, I forget too.
But it starts here. So the Marauders win. These mutants win. They travel back. They travel back into to the present. Before they do, this one mutant who is very like forest elfy in a sense, essentially mutates again, and it looks like a version, like a very gritty version of Krakoa. And then it says its name, and I was like, I know that name, and I looked it up, and it was the island before it split.
Got it.
And fucking cool, right? But
That
then
is really cool.
3 of the mutants that time traveled back into the in the beginning of this arc, they stay back in time, obviously, like millions of years. They end up keeping, I guess they have a copy of their DNA. They all 3 get resurrected in the present. And we've got 3 new mutants with the X-Men, which one of them is in love with Tempo. And I'm like, ship it. I'm here for it. Let's go. I can't remember a name. All I have to say is Orlando did a masterful job of connecting continuity that has been placed 3 years ago and keeping that idea alive. And on top of that, the artwork in this book has been phenomenal. And then you throw, 2 Peach Momoko covers a row, like what? So Steve Orlando for me is no longer steadily climbing the ranks as one of the cooler writers in Marvel. He's making leaps now, and
nice.
We'll get to it in another book because you haven't been reading this, right?
No.
Yeah, I would
just read the first part.
Highly recommend reading Orlando's run. It is. Shut up, Siri. It's freaking awesome. So Cassandra Nova is probably Heart Mr. Sinister. Oh, that was the other thing. They left Cassandra back in the past as punishment for she got fucked over in this book. Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. She definitely got screwed over, rightfully so. But she got left in the past, so we'll have to see about that.
All right.
Yeah, some definite crazy shit going on. Let's talk about another Steve Orlando book, and that is Scarlet Witch, issue number 1.
That's chips. Pick of the week.
This is my pick of the week, guys. I know a lot of people didn't like this book, but I absolutely loved this book. I thought it was written superbly by Orlando. I thought the artwork was really fun. I really liked the jabbing between Scarlet and Quicksilver and them just kind of having at it as brother and sister. I don't know. It's just this whole book hit it for me.
Yeah. I think this book is doing what I want a book like this to do for a character that's maybe not in the mix of everything, and that is keeping them out of the mix of everything. Right now, Scarlet Witch is not on an Avengers team or a Defenders team. She's not out in space or in the past or anything like that. She's just chilling. And like, we're telling the story of kind of something that doesn't have to do with anything else. Like, it's cool that she's got a little supporting cast there. And with the girl that's helping her keep shop and her brother. I like that. I think that's interesting. But I just really like that this book didn't try to allude to Dark Web or throw a mutant in there. Like it just...
Yeah. No, it's doing its thing. It's doing its own
thing.
thing, but I definitely loved the hook at the end. Like...
Yeah.
It was just fun. I love the character design too, with her hair being kind of like part of the costume, and it just kind of like flowy and like a cloud.
Yeah, the art in this was really good too. Like,
oh my
really
god.
Good.
Yeah. So I'm on it. I know it on New Comic Book Day. I said I'm going to give it 1 issue, and if it hooks me, I'm in. I am in for at least the first arc. I am definitely in.
Yeah, just for the the briefest synopsis because I think you should read it on your own. But you know, essentially what this is Scarlet Witch has created help shop, essentially. Like, people can come in and buy things, but like the ultimate thing, the reason why she has opened this shop is she has magically created the last door. It's the last door that someone can walk through before they're just at their wits end, or before they give up, before something serious happens. And it's kind of her way of using magic to like pay it forward, you know, feeling guilty for like her past and like you know, the things that she's been through. So I find that really intriguing as a little bit of like a Scarlet Witch apologist story, or like you know, trying to like fix her character a little bit. But
Yeah.
Joe said that he really digged it too, and he could see this being on the same level as Captain Marvel, and I think that's a really good comparison. The way that Captain Marvel does get involved with things, like she's been involved in like 5 or 6 different tie-ins, but that feeling of like the way that Kelly Thompson has taken on and shown that she knows exactly what's going on in Captain Marvel's world, I feel like Steve Orlando did that with this first issue here too. Like, it felt like he had command of what was going on in her life.
100%. He did the same thing with Marauders. Like, he's taking charge of those characters and saying like, I know these characters, and you're not gonna. He's doing the opposite of what I feel like North is doing, where North is like it doesn't feel like North has solid. He's not on solid ground, which is crazy to say for, you know, original Marvel characters. You know, like you would think that you would know the feeling that you have for those characters, but Orlando is definitely doing it with this one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I dug it. So is this a mutant book? The tag and the cover shows it's not. Deadpool even has. Yeah, I don't know. It's not.
No, I think Deadpool was, because he was in X Books for a little bit. They were like, hey, we can get away with this. I think that if they tried even at all to put that on the Scarlet Witch book, that they probably received a lot of backlash, because people would be like, okay, now you're just bullshitting us. Because it's probably not going to have anything to do with it at all.
No, she's not, right?
No, Joe. She's originally from the Tom King Vision book, and she has. I think she was in Champions for a little bit. That like younger kid group.
Yeah.
So she's Champions.
She's even in the Wasteland storylines. Like,
yeah, she's been in some Elseworld stuff too. But yeah, so no, she's not new, but she has not been utilized a lot either. Patty said it's nice when they can give characters a solo miniseries, expand the world without having everyone else involved. I agree. Vision had a daughter in his own series, and son. Yeah, that is the same Vivian.
Interesting.
His son's name.
I don't, but
I need to go read that series. I mean, it's on Unlimited, so I might as well just do it.
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm not saying this was just the best for me. This was the fun and like exciting book for me this week. I mean, there were definitely some other ones. Like X-Men Red was really good, and it did pay off for some other stuff, right? But I don't know. It just hit all cylinders for me, and it was. I will say it was a bit of a light week, but this is my pick of the week. If we want to section it up, fine. This is my Marvel pick of the week, because I do have another pick of the week, and I think we know what it is, but we'll get there when we get there. X-Force.
Oh. Sorry. My bad.
Fine. That's my pick of the week. No joke. X-Force issue 36. I mean, we knew this was kind of coming. The Xeno group is going to they get their hands on an egg. You know, they get their hands on a golden egg, and they are creating their own bio-engineered humans, and they have access to mutants again. This is another one of these instances where Percy is it feels like they're tying up some shit that they started at year 1, and they really want to get to it and just make things make sense.
Yeah.
I guess I'm in it, but it's more of I just want to see how it ends and how they figure out how to tie it in before the fall of X. That being said, the artwork in this issue was really good. I thought it was really fun, but I have no regrets not reading Wolverine anymore. Like, I'm just gonna stick to X-Force, and that be that. Deadpool is still the highlight of this book. But
yeah, I think the first issue I officially jumped off of just appeared on Unlimited, so I'll catch up there.
Yeah, and what's going on is Xeno was given a fake egg, but they were able to bioengineer it, and now they're running the gambit. They're able to create their own mutants that go that work for them. They're bioengineering humans now, and so it's just everything is starting to click when it comes to the anti-mutant movement. So I personally like that we're going, we're not doing surfing Wolverine, which I do like. And I will say this, Wolverine has not been present in these X-Force books, and I know that he's in a bit of a situation right now in his book, so it kind of makes sense. But damn, I'm digging the fact that he's not in the book. Like, I want that. I want this team to be Wolverine-less. Joe, X-Force is a banger. This and Wolverine book is the best stuff coming out of the X-Office. Okay. Special Scarlet Witch stays around. Oh, wait, Patty. She had like 2 minutes or something with Vision. I think she was a part of a few Marvel Presents back in the day. But yeah, she could use more material. That'll be nice. Especially is Scarlet Witch stays around in the MCU for a long time. It would be nice to see her mentor the young Avengers in the future, maybe alongside other characters that stay. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. So one thing that, since we've got a comment about that, one thing I meant to mention that I believe last brought up was there were some in continuity issues with her skin color because they just can't get that right. I can't find the comment now, but I'm pretty sure it was last that brought it up. Anyway, that has already been spoken about too, which is kind of an issue. I don't understand why we can't get this right or wrong, or just stick to something. They do keep messing that up. I lost my second one.
So you done?
Oh. No, I'm sorry. It was about Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige saying, "Hey, we need more source material for her and stuff." And I think that's interesting because if any of y'all are Twitter people, Dano Cosmic's pretty good Twitter or an Instagram follow, and he brought up how it looks like we didn't know it before, but this Guardians of the Galaxy 3 that's coming out probably is shaped by or was shaping the current Guardians of the Galaxy run that's going to start in April with Jackson and Lanning doing the writing. It looks like we're really changing up a couple of characters, including Drax, away from their comic versions, more towards their MCU versions, and that mixed with the comment about Feige saying we want more Scarlet Witch books makes me a little worried, just a little bit. But I don't know. I'm a massive purist when it comes to let's do the comics first, and then if it's good enough, the movies can do their own thing or copy. Right. We don't need movies setting precedent for comics.
We could have a whole show about that. We could. Joe, Beast killed Logan and got him before he got his memories back, and making him kill a list of people in the name of Krakoa. It's wild. Whoa. Jaden, I think it's weird when they suddenly want to change the skin color of a character. It's just unnecessary.
Yeah, she's Romani. I don't know why they haven't gotten her stuck that way, or if we're gonna not do that at all. But obviously, it makes it harder too when they just clearly cast her as a white woman.
Right. Anyway, X-Force, sticking with it. I'm interested to see how it ends, but it's definitely within Xeno's grasp to be part of the fall of X. So, be interested to see where we go. X-Men Red, issue number 10. This was phenomenal. This was really good. And hey, I called it. I'm sorry, I didn't call it. Comic Book Herald called it. The sphere giant guy is Nathaniel Essex, the Spade Essex. So,
yeah. My favorite part of this was, I really like Vulcan because I love how cocky he is, and it gives characters that we like a chance to put him in his place.
Yeah.
And make them look cool, which is exactly what happened here. Like Storm, just once again continues to be unquestionably the most badass single of this era, right? Like, I don't think at this point anyone can touch. I'm not even saying how powerful she is, just like how fucking badass she is. Like,
Dude, her card in Marvel Snap is badass. So like,
well, I've already double infinity it, whatever you call it, split it.
yeah.
Yes, it is good. I don't know. I loved how powerful she was, and I love how she continued to sort of push the whole like Brotherhood thing, and how she is an Arakkan and she is part of this team and part of this group. And,
Yeah, I don't. Let me ask you this: what's our thought with Abigail? You know, escaping, but then Fisherman Kingfish is like,
okay, that's what I was...
nah, bitch. Like, so what do we think is gonna happen here?
I think she's gonna probably weasel her way out. I think Al enjoys using as a guy, so I think she'll find a way to weasel. I don't think we're gonna be seeing Abigail Brand's comeuppance anytime soon.
Damn it.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I liked it when she disappeared and I was like, no. And then when she showed up and he's sitting there like, you know, I've been waiting for you. You know, like I really thought that was cool. Like when that happened.
Yeah.
So, you know, we'll have to wait and see. But I kind of hope she does get her upcomings. But I get what you're saying. Like she's definitely it's to Al Ewing's advantage to continue to use her as a bait. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I don't know. Yeah, you're right. I loved the Vulcan Storm fight. I thought, I don't know. I just thought she's just so awesome. And like, I love the fact that he can't fathom being able to fight with other people, right? He has to assert his dominance as this, you know, I am the only one to fight kind of thing. And she's just like, nah, man, it's all about the team, bro. It's about the Brotherhood. I don't know. It was dope.
Yeah.
You know, it was good. All right, let's jump over to DC really quick. And Joe, where's our halftime comment?
Hey,
Wait, what's going on, Joe?
he asked a question. I'm trying to get the answer.
No, I'm just messing around. Well, before we do this, let's do chat really quick. I'm not gonna lie, I thought the boy Tran came back
Tarn.
and shut up. Oh, boy, what?
Tarn. Remember Tarn?
Oh, Tarn.
From the Hellions book. The guy that gets killed, he's like super cocky. He's a Arakkan. He's got like weird tentacle on his head or some shit.
Nope, don't remember that. Came back and shut off Vulcan's powers. I don't know who did that, but the fight versus Storm was acceptable. She hasn't been killed at all in the X-Men lore.
Nope.
Joe, the Sins of Sinister is going to have a core event book, or do we get to read other books that go along with it? Yeah.
No. Sins of Sinister is only 2 event books, and then those
minis.
Those minis. So like it's Immortal X-Men 9 and 10, then Sins of Sinister #1, and then variations of the Storm and the Brotherhood of the Mutants, Nightcrawlers, and Immoral X-Men. And then a Sins of Sinister Omega. I think it's called Dominion here, but
interesting.
There's no. It's just like Dark Web. It's just all these. And even Dark Web's crossing over with normal ongoing threads. This is not. This is only crossing over.
Interesting.
So there's not going to be, from what this currently says, there's not going to be any sort of like X-Force that ties into Sinister.
Kind of like that.
But X-Men Red and Immortal X-Men will pause while this is going on.
It's going on.
Because they become Storm and the Brotherhood of Mutants and Immoral.
Aren't they? Isn't like a 10-year jump in all those? Like it's like they jump like, or it's like more than that. Like there's like a huge span of time that happens in those. But and Joe says Joe Fixit is his pick of the week. So
yeah,
you're interesting.
You're a Hulk guy.
All right, DC, Batman 131.
Actually,
tell me say what you said. Tell me what you said. Tell them what you said to me over text.
I said I'm afraid that I'm afraid that they're going to be wasting Chip Zdarsky as fill-in stopgap while they're trying to figure out what the hell they're going to do with the launch. Because you can tell from this issue that they were basically like, you can't do anything that is involved between the end of Dark Crisis and the relaunch in April.
Dawn.
And
Yeah.
so Chip's like, what the fuck? Okay, I guess I'll send him to an Elseworld. And that's what happens. We see what happens to him after Failsafe shot him with that gun, and he gets transported to an alternate dimension where Batman is dead. And so it's like Failsafe gave him what Batman would want, which is a Gotham that needs to be saved because he's not there. Well, now he is. Not interested. I'll read it because it's Chip Zdarsky and it's Batman. But not interested at all. Doesn't seem like we're going to have any sort of developments that's meaningful whatsoever. None of this will ever get addressed.
Yeah.
However, I will say the backup, which is still keeping the focus on Tim, redeemed the issue for me slightly because it kept the focus on Tim. And I like that Chip has continued to be focused on him and trying to pick them up. Or at least utilize him in some way, because he hasn't been touched since like 2016.
Yeah, I'm the same boat with you. Like I was kind of like, wait, what are we doing? And then on top of all this, Jorge's not on it because he's going to do an independent book, and I'm like, what are we doing? You know, like I was so like enveloped in the Failsafe storyline, and I was like, well, how are we going to get from this ending point to a new point? And I agree with you, Nate. I think he's in a holding pattern, and I'm worried that they're just gonna, like, when they relaunch, it's not gonna be him writing it. It's gonna be somebody else, and it won't even be Jorge, and it won't even be like. And I guess like at the end of the day, you know, it's Batman, right? But I think Chip deserves more. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm right there with you. I was not digging. I don't know, and it sucks because I want to support. I'm gonna support Chip Zdarsky. Like I like his writing, but it does feel like it's like, yeah, this is weird. Bring back Tinian. Yeah, right. Yeah, I wish.
He's way too busy being the one guy that was successful.
Yeah. All right, Dark Knights of Steel, issue number 9, from Tom Taylor. I know that there are some people, including Nate, that are not digging the revelation in this book. But again, just like what was the other book that I just talked about where I had the Dark Phoenix revelation. Yeah. Mystique. Wasn't even thinking about it. In this one, obviously I was thinking about like, well, clearly something's up here, but what is it? Right? What is covering what is the threat that's in the shadows that's making all these people not act the way they're supposed to act, right? And you know, we get the big revelation at the end, you know, and it was basically right in front of us. And I think for maybe more seasoned DC readers, they were probably waiting for this revelation. Like they kind of probably saw it coming, like, oh, I bet it's the Martian, right? But for me, who is still very novice at DC, when it popped up, I was like, oh, that's neat, you know. Like I just didn't see it coming, and it kind of slapped the same way as Mystique Revelation. Like it just wasn't even in my mind. I thought it was all on the Lex Luthor hybrid Joker Green Lantern guy, you know. Like I thought it was all there. And for me, like seeing the revelation that the Martians are having it out their civil war on Earth now, right? And even the ring, the Green Lantern ring, is like, dip out, dude. Like, stop being an agent of chaos. You got to get out because plan is foiled. You know, that was crazy. Word count, yep, it was pretty. You know, that is always a knock on this book. That Tom Taylor, it's more artwork driven than writing. You know, like it's just.
And thank God for Tom Taylor that he got paired up with a fucking phenomenal artist. Like, I honestly don't think that this series could be exactly what it is without her art. And actually, I think we've seen proof of it, because I think the 2 issues that were probably the series so far, so they just didn't quite feel.
Yeah, I get that. I thought it was. But
I mean, I give it a B. Like, I'm not upset by it, and I saw it and was like, okay, yeah. Like, there's it's like a twist out of nowhere once, whoa, twice, whoa, 3 times, okay, and then it's like, but this time you're like, okay, I don't believe anything I'm seeing anymore. Literally, anytime I read the book, I believe nothing. And
Yeah.
so you did it too much. Like Tom tailored this too much.
Well, I mean, but at some point we had to figure out why. I mean, it was so out of character for Cal's mom to split in half Diana's mother. Like when that happened, we're like, but why? You know?
Yeah.
And I thought I had it. Like maybe this just maybe power just absolutely corrupted, right? And we were getting other instances of that too, where it was just these characters were acting so, like, even for an Elseworld story, they were so out of line, right? And now we get it, but I understand what you're saying. I liked it. I thought it was fun.
I thought it was a beef. I thought it was, yeah. I didn't think it was bad.
Joe, first of all, I love this run, but Tom Taylor is now relying on the hype and the ideas of this book. We need more if we have to wait this long for press issue. I agree with that.
Yep, I agree.
Turtle, Martian Manhunter's as strong as Superman. Like, bro, if it was a good twist. I think everyone that didn't like it just doesn't like Tom, but Tom really can cook in Elseworld books. Now who is Luther? I said it, I don't know if it was last live or if it was in New Comic Book Day, but I think DC in general, when it comes to their properties, whether it's comic book or movie related, they just do so much better with Elseworld stories and one shots. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't know if that's because they've just been around for so long and like they're kind of like the bottom of the pyramid when it comes to superhero stories.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's just Elseworld stories just do so much better in my opinion. You know, with I think it was when I was talking about Dark Crisis. Dark Crisis was just so like, it was so in on itself that I just couldn't get into it, you know, and then they were like, look what we did. I'm like, who cares? You know, like maybe that's the same effect that this book is having for some people, but that's just me. The halftime question from Joe was, who is your Mount Rushmore of comic writers for any publisher? Mine is Ed Brubaker, Donny Cates, Peter J. Tomasi, Jason Aaron. I'm a new reader. Wow. So we have to have 4, right? Is it 4 or is it 5?
You don't have to have a certain amount.
4.
Mount Rushmore of I mean, I guess because there's 4 heads on it.
Right, yeah, I think it's 4.
Mount Rushmore of comic writers. Just comic writers in general. Ooh, yikes. I'm gonna have to put Jason Aaron on there because I think he's written the single greatest character run of all time of a Marvel character.
Okay.
I'm gonna put Jim Starlin on there as well. Jim Starlin did all the original Captain Marvel and the really good Warlock stories and Thanos stories. Thanos. Tinian for sure. Tinian 100%. Probably my favorite single writer. And
mine's gonna be so like, I'm a new comic book reader, but I don't even give a shit. So keep, you know.
What's my 4th one? Man, I don't know. Chris Claremont? Do I need to say Chris Claremont? I think it's Chris Claremont. I'll say Chris Claremont. So Chris Claremont, Jim Starlin, James Tinian, and Jason Aaron. That would be my 4.
Wow. So Turtle says Hickman, Grant, Dan Slott, Bendis, and Jed McKay. Remove Dan Slott, replace him with Tinian. See, that's the problem. There's just so many.
Tinian has to be on mine. Like, Tinian is my number 1, and the others aren't close.
Jonathan Hickman, James Tinian,
Yep.
Donny Cates. In my surprise dark horse banger
Okay.
Dan Warren Johnson.
All right. Yeah.
Dan Warren Johnson.
Yeah.
Just because he's just, and he's just fucking dope. Like, I'm gonna make a TikTok soon where it's gonna be when Kylo Ren's like more, right? But it's what it.
Yeah.
What?
Sorry. I was gonna say I have a way harder question for you.
Okay.
You have to pick though. You have to pick one.
Okay, before we get that, it's gonna say, me reading the finale of Daniel Warren Johnson's Do a Powerbomb and wanting to know what his next thing is writing, like what he's writing next, or just continuing to do that. But all right, go ahead, throw it at me.
Here's your question, and you're gonna hate me for asking you this.
Shit, don't do it.
From here on out, Daniel Warren Johnson can only write comics or draw comics. Which one is it?
Fuck you, I'm not answering that.
He literally loses the ability to either write comics. Which one can he still do? I know my answer, but I hate it. I hate answering that question.
I guess I draw. He draws.
It's draw.
He draws. Because you can pair him with anybody on the Mount Rushmore.
Mm-hmm.
And
he elevates them.
Right. Donny Cates metal.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Aaron metal. Like anything metal. Like it's just, draw.
Okay. But
it sucks.
But and I think that some people would go, oh, that means you think he's a bad writer.
No,
I don't at all. I think he's a fantastic writer.
Joe says right for me. His Beta Ray Bill is classic. Hi, dude. I know, man. Like, but it's draw. I'm sorry, it's draw.
That one and Murder Falcon.
Oh, dude, don't even stop.
Okay.
I forgot about this one. Sword of Azrael issue number 6. Banger.
Okay.
I'm not even going to spoil it, but just know that I am now 100% a Azrael fan. I want to see more. I hope it's with this duo, this creative team, because this run was absolutely fantastic. And I think it was the combo, it was the writing and the lore and the use of mother boxes, and then the artwork, giving this guy who was on Instagram doing like character design and saying fuck it, give him the book, and he did a great job. I don't want to spoil it, but just know that it wrapped up for me beautifully. And this
is the last issue.
This is the last issue, and I want more. That's why I think it's so great, is because I want more. I wasn't, leaving it and be like, that was good. I'm glad I did it, but I'm glad that's over. No, like I was like, I could use more of this, like no doubt. So I can't. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to check this one out. I mean, I enjoyed was during my crunch time and it got cut, but
yeah.
Your review on this, what book it makes me want to check out. Is Dan Waters, the writer, his independent book that just finished up like 2 or 3 months ago is Homesick Pilots.
No, yeah. No, Homesick Pilots was good.
Same writer. So
Homesick Pilots, I remember reading the first arc and being like, slap, but I've got
cut. The first trade over here that I picked up at half price. I just need to read it.
Yeah, you need to continue that.
Patty said Simonson for his number 4. I think that's a very, very good. Now, Patty, do you think who wrote the better Thor, Simonson or Aaron? That's what.
Oh shit! Joe says he's gonna read this on trade. I implore you to do it.
Yeah, I think I need to pick this
one. All right, last book of the night, and that is Mosely, issue number 1.
Not the last book.
What do we have left?
We got the one I added that I told you about, and then
I forgot about that. And you're gonna have to do show it on the screen.
That's fine.
Boone Studios Mosely, issue number 1. This is fun. I'm definitely digging it. It's an interesting storyline. I will say that. Like it's like what we're trying to accomplish. It's the dread of AI, the dread of the technological overlords, but the biblical similarities, the burning bush, if you will, the vision is. I'm very interested to see where we're gonna go, and I could definitely see this one being picked up as a show. I think in the very near future.
Nice. I was not as fond. I did not enjoy it as much. And I'm gonna bring this up because it impacted all 3 independent books that I read this week, And one thing that you really don't get to do in Marvel books, like you get to do in independent books, is write like afterwards or epilogues or little notes or messages or thing to your readers. Some people like Daniel Warren Johnson will do it after almost every issue, tell you maybe what the inspiration was or what was going on in his life or something like that. And I think these things can really elevate your book like they did in 2 of my books, and I think it can really harm you like I think it did in this book. So I read this book, and it's very much, the guy is and I'm going to use this word because the author uses it in his letter, but the dude's basically a modern day Luddite. He's a mild version of it, but he basically is like this, the typical like, new tech is bad, future is bad, the new stuff that I don't understand is bad, and we need to get rid of it, and we need to not have it. And when I read this book, I was like, oh, this can go one of 2 ways. This writer could be also agreeing with Mosely's point of view and saying we're going too far with technology and it's a problem. Or it could be a guy who thought that coming around to realizing that the modern technology is good.
Yeah.
And when you finish this issue, you can't tell.
Right.
But in his letter, he even says, I wouldn't go so far as to call myself a Luddite, but I just think we're going too far with technology in this world. And I would go so far, sir, as to call you a Luddite. You are absolutely a Luddite because you're writing a book whose main character is a Luddite. So I don't think I'll be picking up the next issue. I have an extreme aversion to Luddite mentality and like stories about how evil the future is and how we got to hold on to the past to save ourselves from what we don't understand. I think it's a really bad plot line. I think it's, even if you have good reasons, I don't like it. It's not for me. So I don't think I'll be picking up this issue, even though if that letter hadn't been there, I probably would have picked up issue 2.
Interesting.
But that mixed with the very out of nowhere, our main character goes from introspective monologuer to superhero with an axe in like 2 panels. That was another big turn off. So
it did. I will say the ending was very abrupt. Like I was like, wait, what? And I get how that was supposed to be a hook. I'm with Joe though. He says the book was good, the middle was muddy, and the end was okay. It will get an issue 2, but no promises. I think I'm gonna do an issue 2, but I'm right there with you. Like it was just, I can see, like it felt like one of these Netflix shows that kind of pops up and you're like, cats with chainsaws, and you're like, yeah, sure, why not? Like what else am I gonna like? There's a million things to watch, sure. So I think I will get an issue 2, but it didn't pick up a pool for me. Because the ending was very like, huh? Like where did that come from? So anyway, that's that. All right, tell us about the 2 books that I fucked up. And
before we do, I want to catch up in chat here.
Okay.
Because I had asked Patty if he liked Simonson or Aaron's run better. Joe commented out that Jason Aaron did 10 years on a Thor run and a classic run. We don't get the same creative team on a book for 10 years anymore. And I completely agree. I think that's why I put Chris Claremont on my Mount Rushmore, because there's no such thing as X-Men or mutants or any of that history that we have with any of these amazing characters like Wolverine and Storm and Cyclops and Havoc and Polaris and Colossus, all of our original X-Men, without him. I mean, what he did, 19 years? Yeah, I agree. Patty said they both did great for their time period. If they all of a sudden swapped, that would be an interesting change in history. It's hard to say, honestly, fonder of the older books. Something you have to think on with a real answer with runs fresh in your mind. And I agree. I do. And I don't think I can be a proper assessment of that because I haven't finished Simonson's run. So I couldn't give you a proper review of that.
Gotcha.
And then Joe said the beginning of this book was good. The middle was so muddy and the end was okay. It'll get an issue 2, but no promises, talking about
Mosely.
And then Joe asked, before I forget, why is Mr. pure evil? I didn't jump on the X books till X Lives deaths. I mean, that's just his character history is probably the only thing that I really know to say to that. The only Sinister exposure I have outside of Hoxpox is the original Death of the Mutants or whatever it was, whatever run he was. What was that? What was that run that he was involved in?
Say it again. Sorry.
The original Sinister run where he was.
Oh shit.
Before Inferno. I mean, Inferno was the big one. Before.
God damn it! It was like our favorite. What the heck?
Did you read it?
With
I'm talking
Sinister?
about the Claremont stuff. The original.
Oh, no. Sorry, I thought we were talking.
Follow the
No.
Mutants. Follow the Mutants.
Follow me. That's fine.
Hey,
Eric, what up? Joe asks, I need more independent books now. Do you do a Powerbomb in public domain is finished? What new independent #1 is coming y'all are looking forward to? Funny you should ask.
Oh my gosh.
We've got some coming up in the new comic book day video dropping this Tuesday. So
Yes.
I will tease that and let you know that there are some independents actually starting that you may want to check out.
Yes. There's also a lot of that just started that you could jump on with us, like Know Your
Why don't
Station, for instance.
Oh, yeah,
Issue
Know Your
number 2 is
Station.
coming out next week.
All
you can
Against
jump
All.
All Against All. I don't want to give away the one for the video.
Yeah,
but
don't give away. Yeah, you got to watch the new comic book day video to find out what the new one that's coming out this week. Not that you can't go look at what's coming out this week and be like, oh, it's this one. But
oh, good to know. Joe says Junkyard Joe is good. I've been thinking about. I couldn't decide if I wanted to pick that one up or not. That's the in continuity, but not direct sequel to. Oh shoot! Now I can't remember it. The dude that's radioactive in the future, and it's kind of like Fallout a little bit. Jeff Johns' book.
oh yeah. I remember. I didn't like that book.
That's the like predecessor, or not predecessor, but like co-book.
Yeah. What was that?
Um,
Something Gamma something. Man, we suck.
Anyway, okay. Other
Tell us about these
independents.
books.
So I picked up 2. We finally got a calculated. We've been waiting for about 3 or 4 months, but with Aftershock going bankrupt and all the yikes going on there, this book got pushed.
Geiger.
Thank you, James.
Thank you, James.
It sucked that we had to wait for this, and issue 3 was a little bit lower quality than the first 2 issues. But this was good. This is a really good wrap up. Basically, we find out that at the end of issue 3 is when what's his name? Our main character tells his girlfriend. Remember, they're like talking. And he's like, "Yeah, like I'm a killer. I used to work for the mob." And she's like, "Oh
Right.
yeah, I'm a stripper. Huh?
You're funny.
We're totally playing." He like tells her the truth, and he's like, "So if you want to call the cops or leave me forever, or whatever, I understand. But like, I'll tell you the truth." And she's like, "Nope, I'm into it. That's hot. I love it. I don't give a shit." So he's like, "Okay, well, I'll see you later. I gotta go kill some." I'm like, "Okay, see you later." And basically, it wraps up with the original undercover agent that's working with him, that they were friends. He's retiring. And so they set up a meeting at a soccer game where they could say goodbye, even though the woman thinks they're going to catch him. He gets away, of course. And then the agent retires, and he's like, "Oh, I've got some of Jack Beans' things here, like from the case. I need to go take up to the office." And his wife's like, "Yeah, get rid of that shit. You're retired now." And he looks and he realizes that there's a photocopy of Jack Beans' diary from when he was 7. And it turns out all of this is a lie. He can lie the whole time. That's not true. He can lie. And he's been planning since he was 7 to get in the mob and then fake getting found out and then kill the mob and then take over that mob.
Shit.
And the guy was like, "God damn it." Like literally the whole time this guy was thinking of it. It was a really fun way to wrap it up where like technically the good guy loses or the good guy wins,
Right.
but it's like the way you want it to be.
Nice.
It again, what I've said this whole time on this book is it's like Breaking Bad. It doesn't have a Breaking Bad ending, but it does still have that feel. So
Nice.
if you see this one in a trade, it should be like a cheaper trade because it's only 4 issues. I would definitely say it's worth a pickup if
Interesting.
Aftershock is able to get that out.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
And then I also picked up from AWA, which is a publisher that just started in 2020. That we picked up a few books. They weren't so great, but I picked this one up because it is a Daniel Kraus book. This is Trojan. Daniel Kraus has written a couple of things. I read his Bent Heavens novel last year. That was good, and he did Autumnal with Vault. That was my scary book pick of the year.
That's
for
right.
2021. And so I was like, shoot, it's Daniel Kraus. I gotta check it out. And I was a little disappointed. The execution, I see what we were trying to do, and I read the book and I was like, I think I see what Daniel's trying to do. And then he wrote a nice letter in the back about what he's trying to do, and it made a lot of sense. And I said, okay, I see where you're trying to go. You didn't get there at all, but I'm gonna give you an issue 2 to try to get there more.
Gotcha.
And so basically, we're like living in a world where there are fae as well. So like almost think like wind, like the people that are like human, but like they are growing horns or wings or something like that. And there is a guy who essentially brutally murders them on the dark web for millions of dollars for people pay to view this stuff.
Good.
And the girl that we see on the cover, her mom is super ill to save her life, and so she wants to find this guy so that she can get paid a lot of money to get brutally killed by him so that her mom can live.
Holy shit.
That's essentially what we're trying to do. Now, the execution on that was not very clear. It was a little strange. Daniel Kraus is known for his horror. Nothing here was horror. There was a little bit of body horror when you see like the guy, what he did to one of the Fae, and it's just a guy hanging from a chain noose with no arms or legs.
Nice.
But other than that, there's really not any horrific or horror about this. So I would say, unless you're like me and you're a super big Daniel Kraus fan, probably don't jump on this one. But I will be reading issue 2, so I'll let you know how it is. It'll end up better. Yes.
All right, cool. Sebastian, you ask, what's the book that we're looking for most excited for next week? Man, y'all are really trying to figure out what we're going to be talking about next week. Looking
I've not even heard of that. Spy Superb.
Interesting. If I'm looking at it right now, and if I had to, I don't know. Nothing's like jumping out of it, like jumping like at me like crazy. It's gonna sound very vanilla, but I think for me it's because of the scenario that's been set up for Sync. I think it's X-Men, because Sync is getting back with X-23, and I want to see where it goes, and I hope that it gets flushed out and not just completely like, oh yeah, it's over here in one issue, now we're done with it. You know, I hope that's the one that I'm looking forward to the most, because I don't have a She-Hulk this week, so I gotta wait until February for that. So
I'm going to sound like a shill, but I'm also going to tell you the truth, and it's the book that we're not going to tell you about. That is the
oh yeah, shit, it's not even on my.
That is the Image book.
I changed it to that one, and that's totally, that is not a knock on like, hey, go watch our video. I am truly interested in that book. I totally forgot about that. I don't have it on my pool. I need to hold on. Shit, I got to do that like right now. There it is. I'm gonna pull it right now, guys. You'll know, but.
Yeah, new independent Image book by one of our favorite Marvel. So
it's gonna be crazy, hopefully. All right, guys. Well, that's gonna do it for issue 117 of Two Fat Guys Plus live here on YouTube. As always, if you're not already and you're watching this live, or you're watching this as a past episode, again, if you're not already subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and give us a like. We would much appreciate it. Be prepared to see a really cool, Nate coming back in the new Comic Book Day video this Tuesday, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. And then we'll be back here again live to review all those books for the week of January 11th. Also, be on the lookout. We haven't filmed it yet, but we will be doing. Oh shit, you got it. Ooh.
Forever.
Have you? You just haven't opened it?
Yeah.
Nice. Be on the lookout. We haven't filmed it yet, but we will be doing a March solicitations Marvel video. I've got the thumbnail already made. We just have to film it. But we will, be prepared for that, so you can get some insight on what's coming up from Marvel in March, because we got to get that out before fucking April comes out, because April's going to come out in like a week, so we got to get that done. But again, appreciate every single one of y'all for coming. Calvin, it's all good. The fact that you're here, it makes it all better. Just, we just needed you for a second. But yeah, thanks guys for watching, and as always, fam, be kind to one another and read more comics. We'll catch you in the next one. Later.
Joe, Annihilation. If you have not read Annihilation, and then Annihilation Conquest, and then War of Kings, those are the omnibus.
I only have one omnibus, and it's the Donny Cates' like Cosmic Universe omnibus.
I need to get rid of some, honestly. I have Dr. Aphra, Darth Vader, Ten of Swords, Fantastic Four, Jonathan Hickman, Annihilation Conquest.
All right, guys, I gotta go because I gotta go watch the rest of this game.
Okay,
I'm
bye.
pissed. Bye.